I'm Norm Poltenson, the publisher of the Business Journal, and I'd like to share a moment with you on the subject of offshoring. If you've watched any television, seen any ads, you know that the Obama administration has been making an issue of offshoring, and particularly as it applies to Governor Romney in terms of his time at Bain Capital. Offshoring is considered to be a pejorative. It's a terrible thing to do. The thing I find especially interesting is that nobody says, why does the government offshore? And it's not questioned at all. Now, I know you're sitting there saying, what do you mean the government offshores? But if we just look at NASA as a case in point, the government now spends about $800 million a year on the Russians in order to send our astronauts into space. That's only $800 million, but obviously it represents jobs that could have been kept here in America. And when we talk about offshoring, I'm simply talking about a process where you take, a company typically takes a process in their operation and they send it overseas to another country. So it's not just the Russians that we're sending money to and sending our jobs to. Last year, we spent $29 billion. Now, depending on how much money you used for creating a job in the private sector, that's easily 300 to 500,000 jobs that we offshored. And the government did it. And nobody raises a question. So let's come back and just kind of look at some facts about, is offshoring really an evil? Why would a company or a government offshore? And typically it's because they want to lower their cost. They may need to find skilled workers, or they want to be close to a market. That's usually the reason they do it. I'll also tell you that everybody offshores. The Japanese offshore to China, especially to the provinces that they controlled before and during World War II, which I find very interesting. The Germans go to Romania. They also go to Poland. The French go to the North African countries which they used to control. And the Australians love to go to Indonesia and offshore production facilities. Why is nobody talking about reshoring, which is simply a question of American companies who, for whatever reason, have decided that it's smarter not to do business overseas, that they can do it here, and so they bring the operation back to the United States. What about inshoring? We don't talk about that. That's where foreign companies come and invest in the United States. Nobody says that foreign companies actually invest $4 trillion more in the United States than the United States sends overseas. And what do these generate? $2 trillion of our economy and gross domestic product is purchased by this foreign investment. I don't know why we're so concerned about Made in America. It's a great label. 21% of all the manufacturing in the world is still done in the United States. China only does 15%. Americans are not going to stop manufacturing, but the whole concept of a global economy is those people who can do it best and for the least cost should produce whatever the product or offer the service. We all benefit from that. And conversely, the idea that somebody can peddle to you the thought that we can protect ourselves from global intrusion is ridiculous. We all benefit. In the short run, of course, somebody may lose his or her job. That's painful. But in the bigger concept of creating wealth and of growing the economy, we're doing very well. At this moment in time, while the Europeans are struggling and China is slowing down and India is very definitely slowing down, United States exports are continuing to grow. Think about that Made in America label. Offshoring is not an evil. Offshoring is a good. And I just wish we would be honest about it. I'm Norm Poltenson. Thanks for listening.